Welcome to What's Up, Bolts. I'm Fernando Ramirez. That cowboy hat don and sunglass wearing son of a gun is Dan and Dago, and you can't stop me in the
Ah,
morning.
read the name, Frau. Nostradamus. You already know what your boy does in here.
Yeah, Nostradamus is what he's gonna go by for a little bit, but we all know that's Dan and Dago,
That's
and
right.
you
Good.
can't stop his
Get it.
high right now. Dan, is this an exit interview? No, it's not, right? It's not. This isn't the last episode of What's Up, Bolts for a little bit, is it?
No,
Because
no, this isn't House of Horns. We're not the other team in LA. They're on
why?
their way out. They're enjoying their little vacation time. We're up here in the big leagues playing real, meaningful football now. Thank God. It's unbelievable. Finally, they're back in it. It's going to be interesting, Frau. You already know it's going to be a battle on Saturday.
So Chargers play. They travel to Jacksonville Friday, and they will play the Jacksonville Jaguars on Saturday Night Football at 5 p.m. local time, West Coast time. In what to me is the game of the week. Honestly, I mean, you look at some of these other games, and there's nowhere near as much excitement, I think, than this game. This game is Trevor Lawrence versus Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Herbert.
The son of
Um,
Odin.
the offense versus the defense. Doug Peterson versus Brandon Staley. Offense versus defense. I mean, this is literally one of those games that could be honestly a thriller, to be completely honest. So this is going to be interesting. Dan, what do you think so far? What's your what's your feeling going into this? What do you feel like is going to be key?
This is what's key, right? Everybody I know is probably trying to drum up the stories from week 3 and everything else. But everyone forgets for now. I understand week 3 seems like 10 years ago. I mean, hell, sometimes I don't even remember what happened last season except that week 18 game. That's how long ago it seems. But week 3, I think the key component of why it was such a debacle, you're missing Corey Linsley. Corey Linsley didn't play. Slater goes down, and it was Storm Norton, and we've seen what Storm Norton can do. Obviously, not much. I mean, it is what it is. Salayer wasn't starting yet. Sorry if I butchered her name. It's not on purpose. It's just because I don't know. Well, who was the other one? I just looked. Oh, Keenan Allen didn't play for now. You still had Jerry Tillery, which, my God, that's a handicap in and of itself. You know, you had missing players. You had a lot of key missing players, which was the problem in this game.
By the way, Isaac Rochelle put out on I saw this on TikTok. He's like, it's so great to be back with my Notre Dame teammate and former.
Oh, God.
And they had a picture of him, Tillery and Rochelle, and I'm like, there's Daniel's favorite defensive line duo.
I'm glad they're saying kumbaya out in the desert at home and when they should be playing playoff football. That's the epitome right there of what they do. They don't play in January.
I get what you're saying. It's kind of throw that game 3. If you're the Chargers, throw that game 3 away. I mean, you could see it some of the defensive lineups and some what they do on offense and everything. But like James Robinson had over 120 yards.
He's gone now.
In that game. He's not there. He's in New York.
No. Yeah.
Travis Etienne is a handful though, and I mean,
yeah, he is.
And
they have a solid receiving core. They have solid weapons offensively. Yeah. They got
not just that, Dan, but we know Doug Peterson. Trick plays. He's gonna run trick plays.
Oh yeah, so I was watching right now the highlights from the Cowboy game, and that's what they were doing a lot because they were down early, 14-0, trying to get back in it. And you know, you can expect dogs to be on the field in Jacksonville, that's for sure. Doug Peterson, like we've talked about, like we've beaten a dead horse, Super Bowl winning head coach. He did it arguably, I would say, his Super Bowl is probably the hardest to win maybe in NFL history because he did it with his backup quarterback. I understand, you know, everybody could argue how.
And he had to face Tom Brady. Yeah, of course.
And he had to face Tom Brady. Exactly. It's like, so this guy is high IQ, you know, where Andy Reid, because I think he comes from
the Patriots defense let him off easy, and they just like opened up and they just said, go right ahead, score whatever.
Are you trying to do this again? I am not going to get into this debacle. But he comes from the Andy Reid tree. I'm almost fairly certain he was his offensive coordinator. So you know he studied from the best. That's like freaking, you know, oh, if I mess up this timeline, forgive me. That's like, you know, I think it was Plato and Socrates, but I can't remember which one studied from the other. And, you know, that's high IQ level stuff. That's high IQ level stuff. So, you know, you can expect all sorts of things to get your eyes looking in the backfield. And bada boom, it comes right behind you. You know what I mean? They're going to try and trick you.
The one thing is, too, and this is what I've always thought about. with flea flickers and stuff like that, the cornerbacks are just gonna have to trust the defensive linemen that they're gonna be able to get the job done. And I mean, because flea flicker usually the defensive backs are looking in the backfield and they're like, oh, okay, they want to come up and try and help. I think in those certain plays they need to just
you have to be disciplined.
Stay with your guy, be disciplined. Yeah. Let the front seven try and handle that.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be interesting. I think Bryce Callahan is gonna be on Charlie Kirk most of the game. That's what I expect. Did Bryce Callahan? Yeah, Bryce Callahan played that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously
5 key injuries that I was watching right now when I saw it. I think I got him. It was Keenan Allen wasn't there. Lindsley out. Slater goes down. Oh, Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa goes down in the middle of that game also. And the main difference from then to now also, Kyle Van Noy wasn't playing as well as he is now. Now he's been killing it. He's been on fire. And I think it's a completely different defense, obviously excluding last week. But I think it's a complete different team. I think they need
and Justin Herbert, remember, had his just a week before, his ribs had been
and the other thing
scrambled against
the Kansas City Chiefs. That's right. That's right. And the other thing was you have 2 quick turnovers in the first half, which doesn't help you at all. They lost the game in the third quarter, Frau, of that game.
Yeah.
Like you've been talking about all season, the third quarter determined this game because they couldn't get anything going on offense. And, the defense, did what they could. And then at one point they were down 31-10 at the end of the third.
By the way, also Morgan Fox wasn't playing all that much around that time either. And, Morgan Fox has emerged as
that's right.
As a pretty good piece to this offense. So this defense has changed a lot since then. I know people will point to the fact that the Chargers haven't played a real quarterback, but you have to. It's funny when the Chargers lose. It's like, oh, well, there they go. They charge it. If they win, oh, well, look at who they were playing. So, I mean, excuses.
Yeah. Or it's a fluke. It's a fluke.
Yeah.
But you know how it goes. Those are the same people. Those are the same people who say, when they win, oh, it's all Patrick Mahomes. It's all Patrick Mahomes. Oh, when they lose, oh, the team, oh, the this, oh, the that. They make excuses. It is what it is.
So, let's see this. So, the Jaguars beat the Raiders. So, they went on they played the Chargers, and then they went on a fat losing streak. They lost to the Eagles, to the Texans, to the Colts, to the Giants, to the Broncos. Then they got hot. They beat the Raiders. They lost to the Chiefs. They beat the Ravens. They lost to the Lions 40-14. Then they went on a hot streak. But look who they played: the Titans twice, the Jets, the Texans, and the Cowboys. I mean, okay, there you go. Well, who have they played? I mean, they didn't really play any tough competition in that time. So, I mean, I don't know where, because I've seen some Jaguars fans saying, oh, the Chargers didn't play anybody. But, I mean, the Texans, who they play? The Cowboys?
Well,
the Cowboys
either way.
Got manhandled. I mean, if you're Gilbert Manzano, obviously you think that the Cowboys did a really good job or have done a good job. But when you're one of us, you obviously don't believe that, but you don't believe the hype.
But you know that? I think I'm cute. Oh, I know I'm sexy. I've got the look. The drives are go wild. I've got the move.
We're just gonna disrespect the Heartbreak Kid again.
It's my song, Dan and Diego. It's my song.
Nostradamus. You know what your nickname's gonna be? Mr. Almost Lost to a One-Eyed Cat.
Wow, jeez. I come on your show to give you some good insight on my great football mind. I get bashed for my song choices and for competing with a cat, but it's okay. I care about animals. You don't.
We appreciate having Gilbert Manzano on. Gilbert, we had to bring you on because you've been around the organization. You covered the team for numerous years. You ain't got nothing to do now. So obviously we thought, we'll
excited about that.
I got plenty to do.
No, but you've been around the team. You know this team, and just wanted to get your insight on what you think. But Dan and Diego and I were just going through right now because I've seen some Jaguar fans. I've seen them in my mentions, and they're like, well, the Chargers didn't beat anybody in that winning streak that they had. But then I go look at Jacksonville, and they beat the Titans twice, the Cowboys once, the Jets, and the Texans. So you're kind of like, well, you guys are kind of on the same boat. Like, you guys didn't really beat high competition. But I get it. They're two great teams. They have a lot to play for, obviously. In my opinion, I think the Jaguars are 1 year early. In a sense, but I still think that they're a very, very dangerous team. How do you see the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah, the
You didn't see
whole
them this year in person, did you?
I did not.
Okay.
But I watched a couple games. I watched that game on Saturday night, seeing old friend. Oh, actually, the revenge game. Rashawn Jenkins, former Charger, getting that.
How
Keenan Allen
dare
today
you?
shouted him out. He's like, he's playing at a high level right now.
How dare you bring that up to the
Revenge.
football gods? How dare you?
Why? Because you're mad you didn't go to Nashville? Is that why you're mad?
No, I don't care about going to Nashville. I don't care about where they're going. I know they're going to go on the road, be road warriors, and hopefully get out of the wild card. The Chargers usually do anyway.
Okay, well, don't interrupt me when you don't have anything to say.
This guy.
But the question is, yeah. So the whole point of keeping track of who's playing who, like you could say that's the 49ers, right? The 49ers won 10 games in a row. That's freaking hard to do, 10 games in a row. And you're trying to assess, like, well, they play nobody. The 49ers are a good team. The one thing for me with the Chargers, when they went on that roll, when they beat, actually 4 games in a row, right? I know they beat the Rams and the Colts or whatever, but the first two, the Dolphins and the Titans, which is a quality win for the Jaguars, but not for the Chargers. So, and the whole thing with the experience there, the Jaguars are, like you mentioned, they're a young team, and I really like the way Trevor Lawrence has been playing, and he finally showed that he's worth that number 1 pick. And at one point, that 2020 draft, people thought that Trevor Lawrence was the guy to wait for, not Joe Burrow, not I guess Tua, not Justin Herbert, and who am I forgetting? Jalen Hurts and guys like that. And there's somebody else I'm forgetting, but I'm already blanking. But Trevor Lawrence is finally living up to expectations. But they're a young team. They have a good coach. Doug Peterson's been there, so that's going to help you out. But the defense, I can't name too many guys on there, but they're doing okay. Rashawn Jenkins doing okay.
Josh Allen, the other Josh Allen.
The other Josh
Allen is, doing things there too. So they have some pressure. And Rashawn was always kind of a good player that when it came to attacking the quarterback from the safety spot. So I'm not surprised about that. And yeah, they're a young team. They got the home field advantage, and that crowd was pretty lively for Saturday night. So I was surprised about that. But to be behind to, I don't even know the name of the quarterback for the Titans that
Josh
day.
Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs.
It felt like they had some jitters, right? Like they needed to kind of come back, and it was like, oh wait, we're better than that team. We're just a little nervous, and that could happen again against the Chargers. And that's where I feel like experience could be big. Guys like Keenan Allen have been around in big time games, and then maybe it's not too many names after that. Kyle Van Noy's won a Super Bowl. That's big too. Khalil Mack, I'm not sure how many playoff games he played, but he's been around the league. And Joseph Day won the Super Bowl with the Rams there. So it's going to be Justin Herbert's first game also, or playoff game. But we seen this guy in prime time, and when the lights get bright and he has a lot of pressure, he tends to deliver. And that's why when it comes to the whole like rankings are kind of stupid, but we have a podcast, so we have to rank players. And it's hard for me to put Herbert in the Burrow discussion and the Mahomes, Josh Allen, because I haven't seen him in the playoffs, but I'm very confident he's going to deliver because he's that freaking good. And I think it's going to be a fun matchup. It might be the best matchup of wildcard weekend, looking at it on paper for me. I'm excited for this game, but I think the Chargers are in a good spot. We'll see what happens with Mike Williams. I think I'm just talking and rambling, taking over your storylines here for the show.
No.
That's what I have to say.
You know what?
That's
Real
what he
quick.
likes to do, Brown. It's okay. You can tell him. That's what he likes to do.
Real quick, if the COMPAS ever get into book writing, like us together, I'd love to tell Trevor Lawrence's story because I want to find out everything about that first year under Herbert. Can you imagine coming in, having Urban Meyer, seeing what he did on social media, like that video of him at the chop pass, him kicking players and doing like, can you imagine everything?
Not knowing names.
Not knowing the names, like,
you know what's the funniest part? You know what's the funniest part? He probably came in thinking, shoot, this guy's won national championships.
Yeah.
I'm coming into a great situation, this and that. And boom, like a freaking brick wall was like, this guy's a freaking joke. But don't worry, they take jokes right there at the analyst table because he's back already on national TV.
I feel like the Chargers should fly out the kid who takes off his shirt, to like get some good momentum. They are. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So Justin Herbert surprised him this week, and he invited him to the game.
That's when I'm not covering
I told Chargers PR today, if the Chargers beat the Jaguars and that kid is there and he's the reason, y'all need to fly him to Kansas City.
That's right.
If they beat Kansas City, fly him to Buffalo or to Cincinnati, like wherever they need to fly him. fly him the rest of the way.
But I'm not
right.
done. I'm saying you should bring over Josh Lambo too, former Chargers kicker who got kicked by Urban Meyer, and be like, hey, you're not gonna kick me like that because kickers matter too. Okay, so bring in Josh Lambo and bring in the kid and
be
beat
hilarious.
Duval.
You're talking about like suit up Josh Lambo?
No,
No,
obviously
no,
not.
bring him
You
up
got
top.
Cameron Dicker. What are you talking about,
I
man?
was about to say,
Dicker the
I was
kicker,
about
whatever
to
it's
say,
called.
you sound like these jokers who are like, I wish we could just bring in Rivers and suit him up and da 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 da. It's like,
Dude,
bro,
some guy commented on my post during the summer. He's like, I hope we make it to the Super Bowl with this loaded roster. But like, let's just say Justin Herbert gets hurt in the AFC Championship. What if we bring back Phillip Rivers for one more game and he wins it for us? I'm like,
thanks.
what?
Give me the son of Odin.
What in the Mickey Mouse? Some guy in my comment section on Twitter when I announced that I was coming back or whatever, and like I wrote my first story coming back for the OC Register, he wrote that under my comments, and I was like, dude, like, and I said it to Daniel, and Dan almost had a heart attack looking at that. He's like, people are this delusional, and I just start laughing. He's like, forget about Phillip. He's like, we have Justin. I just start laughing, but obviously, I mean, this offense is going to be tough. They have their own grit. It's funny because another guy that Staley said he was going to lean on is Corey Linsley. He's like, man, I still remember what he did. Corey Linsley didn't play in that first game against Jacksonville.
Week 3.
So you know what difference that guy makes. But he's like, I still remember with the Rams, he did a number on us when we played him in that playoff game. When we went to Green Bay and they beat us, he's like, he did a number on us. He's like, and I expect him to do that this weekend against Jacksonville. He's like, having a guy like Corey it really makes a difference. And that's why that's what he said. That's why we went out and got Kyle Van Noy, Sebastian Joseph Day, Corey Linsley, guys like this. We wanted to bring guys that had experience, playoff experience, bring them in and be like, hey, what do we need to do? So, and a lot of the guys, even Derwin today said, Kyle's really been helping us a lot during this win streak. He really has helped us learn a lot, and we've really taken a lot of what he said, and we're like, okay. He's like, I'm not telling you guys this is the Patriot way to win. This is just the way to win. No Patriot way. Just this is the way to win. You have to be willing to sacrifice everything in the playoffs. Sacrifice time with your family. Sacrifice this. Get into the books. You only have 4 games to be, in a sense, immortalized because you win a Super Bowl. So right. I guess in a sense, these guys just need 4 games, and I mean, it's easier said than done, but you just need to sacrifice 4 games, give it all you've got, and you're there.
Even like a guy with Kyle Van Noy who didn't get the results he wanted with the Chargers early on, like he had to kind of wait his turn, right? And he had to figure out his role. Like he's going from like his hybrid linebacker from rushing to being in the middle coverage, and it took him a while to learn Staley's scheme. But when he was a veteran like that, he didn't complain about playing time. He focused on learning the whole scheme. That way, when he learns it, he could, okay, now when you're here to the big time playoffs, let me kind of come in and help you guys out. So just to be patient and let things work and develop, that's big. And that kind of takes me to my other point I want to make. In week 3, when they got beat down by the Jaguars, we all thought that the Jaguars were going to be a really good team. And then they went through this really kind of low streak of really being bad. And then when they turned it on, they're like, okay, that's the team we recognize from week 3. And that's the same thing kind of with the Chargers. They have their downside too. And it's sometimes like it's a long season and you have kind of these bad. And I remember back in week 3, Fernando and Daniel, people are trying to fire Brandon Staley. Lost the locker room. Like everything was falling apart. Yeah. And then now here we are. They're going into, we could talk about that. I don't know if you want to, but week 18, actually, they had nothing to play for because they did all their job before that for winning 4 games in a row. That's how long the season is. So I don't even know you could take that week 3 game. All you could take from week 3 was like the Jaguars had a lot of potential and they showed it in that game. So when it came to December, we weren't surprised about it. The other thing for the Chargers was like, there's such a stacked team. Like, why were they beat down like that? They figure it out. They come back, and it's a long season.
J.C. Jackson also gave up a couple of big time plays in that game, and honestly, I'm gonna give flowers right now. Michael Davis has been on it. Yeah, even on Sunday against Cortland Sutton, Cortland couldn't get free of him at all. I think Cortland, when Michael Davis was on him, he had 2 catches for 20 yards. So Michael was on him the whole game, and he really kind of took him away. So it literally, I think this weekend it's going to be.
Fernando, We might need to change the name in honor of Vato. Vato's on the beat next week. We get like a pick six. Maybe.
Hey,
Vato's
you never know. You never know. I mean, and the guy is skilled. He has improved a lot. So I have to eat my words on that one.
Yeah.
So definitely no. And I'm one of those people that I'll admit it when I have to eat my words. I'll gladly admit it. I think the guy's played at a very high level. That's why I think it's going to be Bryce Callahan on Christian Kirk. And I think Zay Jones, I think Michael Davis is going to cover Zay Jones. Now, here's the question. Well, you know what? No, they might put Michael Davis on Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's kind of like a receiver. He's not built like a tight end.
Yeah,
He's
Marvin
built like a
Jones,
receiver.
man. They got a lot of receivers.
Marvin Jones too.
They do.
Well, Marvin
They
Jones,
have
I
a lot
think
of
that'll
weapons.
be. I think Marvin Jones is going to be Asante Samuel Jr. probably. So, but I mean, Derwin might have to go with Evan Ingram. I think Drew Trinkle might have to cover him too. So it's going to be interesting to see the way the Chargers line up. But Travis Etienne is also dangerous.
They have a nice little nucleus there, but I'm curious about Michael Davis because again, I'm now that I'm free, I have time to kind of study other teams.
Yeah,
is Michael Davis doing better because he didn't have that pressure? Remember last year had the pressure of being the number one guy, got the new contract, and then this year is like, well, you're going back to number 2 or 3, who knows? But J.C. Jackson's our guy. Maybe that made him kind of be at ease. I don't know.
I think it's that, and it's also they're also Staley isn't just sticking to what's it called? He's not just sticking to zone coverages. He's also going a little bit more man to man. He's done a lot more man to man.
That's what he was good at before.
Exactly. That's what Michael Davis was good at. That's today today we were talking in the locker room and we're like, hey, who was the other player? We were all trying to remember who was the other player in 2018 that is still on the team, and it was Michael Davis. And what's his name? Jeff Miller, friend of the show, goes, hey, he was good back then, wasn't he? I was like, yeah, it was Trevor Williams. Trevor Williams gets hurt. Michael Davis comes in, and obviously Gus Bradley's system was more zone. He struggled in it a little bit, but then Gus Bradley at one point switched, and he went a little bit more man because of Mike, and Mike was able to do a lot better with that. So Staley seems like he's changed it up. Against the Dolphins, he went man to man almost the whole game, and that's why I think Michael Davis succeeded a lot more.
That to me, that game's where he really stamped his name on everything else, because I think he was like covering Tyreek the whole time, and you saw him swatting balls, keeping it away, defending passes, and it's like, this is such a breath of fresh air, because it's like we always talk about the guy. If you are trying to build a prototype cornerback, that's the type of guy you want. He's obviously tall and long, lengthy, and he has the speed. Like if he was a lot shorter, like no one's going to outrun this guy. It's always been if he can improve his technique. That's going to be the difference in him obviously locking guys down or not.
And the penalties have come down. He's not doing dumb stuff anymore. So honestly, it's pretty impressive. I'm at VA. If he does well this weekend, he'll earn the T. And if they beat Kansas City next weekend, then he's earned the O. So I'm definitely
right now he's playing like a Mexican. He's one of us.
Yeah, exactly. But and this is gonna be the thing too, and that's what I was telling Dan, is that we know what Doug Peterson likes to do. He'll throw a lot of trick plays out there. And Dan was telling me he was watching film on them, and that against the Cowboys when they were down 14-0, he just started throwing trick plays out there to maybe get the guys back into the game. So we know Doug Peterson's going to do it. He'll do it more in the playoffs than he does in the regular season. So we were saying that the guys need to stay disciplined. If it's a flea flicker, the cornerbacks cannot look into the backfield and be like, oh, let me go help. Stay with your guy, go back there and make sure you stick to the receivers, because that's when guys get open. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see kind of Doug Peterson's offense against Brandon Staley's defense. I don't know how what you think.
That's another kind of key matchup is the coaching battle. Like one has a Super Bowl ring, one has never done it before, and I wonder how that's going to affect Brandon Staley and the staff. I know Joe Lombardi's been around for a long time too, and maybe that could help. But overall, it's a pretty young coaching staff, so maybe that was part of it too, with the whole, making sure you have momentum in week 17 or week 18. I keep forgetting these damn weeks.
I'm telling you,
you want everything to go right, and I think he overthought it a little bit. And maybe that week was like, okay, just stick to what you're doing, figure it out. Because when everybody was counting him out before that Miami game, he was going at it with Mike McDaniel. I know he was a rookie head coach too. That was one of his best performances, and the defense started clicking. So I think once you get back to a regular week where like it's all you got to win, not this like kind of preseason vibe where you're thinking too much and you're not really into it.
Yeah.
I think that's where you really see what Brandon Staley has with that defense. Also, Derwin James coming back, kind of being in rhythm. Like on the roster on paper, they're the better team. But coaching's
100%.
gonna matter, and I know you appreciate that, Dan Dago, being a coach, but playoff football is different, and
It is.
you need to have your Austin Eckler be ready for running the football. You gotta maybe sometimes jump on a team 14-0 when it's you're on the road and you gotta get momentum. So all these things matter. And then when it's a tight game in the fourth quarter and it's 5 minutes to go, that's when the coaching really shows up. And we'll see what Brandon Staley has for his first playoff game.
I think Justin Herbert in this game needs to go back to that Justin Herbert from Miami, the one that was celebrating. He needs to take off. I think this game too, he's going to need to take off running in some of these. I think he's going to need to have positive 20-yard runs, 15-yard, like kind of the way he used to do it before. Well, in between the injury and this last game against the Broncos, in between there, he was taking off running. He was sliding. He was getting up. He was signaling first down. Like that night against Miami, he was really, I think, fired up for that game. So I'm interested to see kind of how fired up he's going to be in this game. I think he needs to go out there and he needs to play loose. Just go out there, play loose.
There it is. Speaking of which,
hey, how many, Dan, how many followers are we away from giving that T-shirt away?
Oh, my Lord,
4 followers away. Dan, how comfortable? Tell people how comfortable that shirt is.
I'm telling you, everybody who can listen and watch, go watch so you can see this beautiful T-shirt. This is the type of shirt, right? Homage. You get it straight out of the package. You can throw it right on. Don't have to wash. It's not itchy. It's real comfortable. I swear to God, it feels like dry fit. Look how smooth it feels on my skin. It's absolutely glorious. You got the H right there to let them know where you're coming from and who gave you the drips and the drops and everything else. It's amazing. I love these shirts. Honestly, I'm taking them with us. But that's to be announced later.
Did you hear that? That's Justin Herbert saying, I approve this message from Dan and Dago. So
that's right, because I am his wise man, the son of Odin, God of lightning. We got a T-shirt waiting for you. Just 4 more. Let's go. Let's get to 200. Get this freaking T-shirt of the young goat. I've been saying it.
Gilbert, aren't you tired of keeping that shirt at home?
Yeah, I am. So I am tired of keeping this shirt. I want to give this shirt away, and it's a good time during the playoffs. And I'm not trying to hijack your show, but let me do a little promoting here. And Dan Dago, I know you're a promoter. That's what you do, but you're a genuine promoter because I agree with the comfort of the shirt. It sounds kind of dumb, let's say, trying to, hey, go buy this product. But every time I give Fernando a shirt or Victor or I'm wearing it, they always say it's comfortable. So that's part of it. And also it's a Blitz T-shirt with Justin Herbert there. So yeah, you're 4 subscribers away. But maybe we could extend it throughout the whole week here during the playoff vibe. And the rules are make sure you're subscribed. And then comment under this video to make it easier for me. I'm the guy gathering all the votes or submissions here. And just comment, what's up, Bolt, or anything that says, what's up, bro. Make it easy for me. I'll get the comments. I'll put it together. And then we will do kind of a little spin the wheel thing for a name there. And then I will send the shirt to the winner. Just give me your address. It's okay. I'm trustworthy. And we'll hook you up with this Justin Herbert T-shirt. So it's cool to see that we're getting close to 200. People are excited, not just because of the T-shirt. I feel like you guys are doing some good content there. Even you, Dan and Dago. That's how nice I am.
What is that
today.
even supposed to mean? Even you?
Well, when you first started, you were just screaming a lot and saying, "I blow a whistle and I coach linemen." So now you're like one of these the blue check beret guys that you like to call.
No, I will never. I will never be one of those blue checkmark brigades where I talk out of a hole that never speaks. That is unbelievable. I will never do that.
That's a good one. But to end here, my little promo, make sure you follow What's Up Boat, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Get up to 200 subscriptions. Go higher than that, and I will hook somebody up with a T-shirt. Just comment in this video. What's up, bro? What's up, Boat? One of those 2.
Look at that. We're giving away stuff, and I mean, you guys aren't take advantage of it. Gilbert doesn't want that shirt in his house. He wants it gone. He has stuff to do. So obviously he's trying to get rid of it.
Patrick Mahomes shirt. That's the one he'll keep.
From homage? Yeah, why not?
You don't want Dan. If you guys don't take that shirt, Dan and Dago's gonna see Gilbert pretty soon. So
you're gonna try to
take that shirt away from him.
That shirt.
You already know. I got this one. This one's homage right here. Look at this.
You need that duo on Saturday in Duval.
I'm telling you, guy. They didn't play week 3, but he's playing in the playoff. That's for sure.
Gilbert, how key do you think that can like? To me, I think it's going to be more Keenan and it's going to be more Palmer than anything. Obviously, Mike matters, but I feel like those two guys are going to be more crucial to this than what people expect. I really think Palmer's going to have a huge. I think Palmer's is in for a huge game this week, and because I don't think there's anybody on that team that can cover somebody like him. And I feel like Keenan, they haven't seen what Keenan's all about on this team, so I think they're in for a rude awakening when it comes to playing against. Because Keenan's now, and I don't know if I'm mistaken or not, Dan, but Keenan's not just sticking to the first 5 yards. He's going out and he's going out 20, 25 yards. He's moving all over the field and Justin's finding him. So he's not just sticking to that old. You remember when you cover the team, Keenan would only do slants or outs or this or that. Keenan's going down the field more, and I feel like that's making him even more dangerous.
Yeah, it felt like on a weekly basis, I kept seeing Herbert throw like a 35-plus reception to Keenan Allen down the field, and he's always doing the first down. I'm like, okay, you never really see that from Keenan Allen, but I'll say this with the Mike Williams injury, and I don't know if it's going to be 100%, but maybe he'll play. He's just like he's a really like a game changer. We'll figure it out. But you throw that sucker downfield, and Herbert has the arm to throw those balls in the tight window or even down the field. But he also has the confidence that he knows Mike Williams will get it. Like it really just stretches out the field. You score quickly, but that's not to say that the other way doesn't work, because Keenan Allen, he is, I keep trying to go back and forth who's the favorite target for Justin Herbert. I want to go Mike Williams, but every time it's third and something, he's going to Keenan Allen, and he's moving the chains. He's getting explosive plays. Or fourth down too, or the fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter is Mike Williams' time, dude.
Yeah, that's what it is. But the whole game, to kind of get the momentum and build something there, it's with Keenan Allen. And Josh Palmer does a lot what Keenan Allen does, and Josh Palmer could do a little bit of everything. And anytime there's an injury, he tends to step up. He's a good number 3. But when it comes to Mike and Keenan, he disappears a little bit. But they're gonna need him a lot more. And we've seen before that he could do it. And maybe you need that scoring quickly mentality with Mike Williams when you play the Bengals and the Chiefs and the Bills. And when you're on the road and you want to run the football and you want to be balanced and maybe you want to control the clock a little more, having kind of guys like Keenan and Josh Palmer who give you chunks to kind of keep it moving and control the clock, that's not a bad thing either. And those are two of the best when it comes to moving the chains on third down.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
To the listener, you're gonna want to see this.
Is this for Mike Williams or what?
Yeah, they're gonna have to get Mr. Miyagi to come in and help with Mike Williams. But
whatever it takes, dude.
I always forgetting about the listeners, huh, Fernando?
I know, but hey, that's why I'm a good tag team with Dan. Dan always remembers the listeners, and he always remembers them. So definitely, it's definitely interesting. Gilbert, are you gonna stick around, or are you got to take off? What you call it?
I got to take off because we have another program called COMPAS on the Beat. You might have heard of it. I got to put that together and post it. So I'll let you guys do your thing. Thank you for having me on, because I've missed talking some Chargers. So I appreciate you having me on for an extended period here and for offering to stay longer. But I was going to take a shot at your brother, but now I got the song. So I'll leave.
There you go. Go ahead. Do what you need to do.
I actually forgot. I just like the song so much. And I just wanted to. I like the song too much. Good song. But Dan Dago, actually, I'm not going to say anything bad. It's your program. You've been killing it all year, man. So thank you for having me on, Dan.
Appreciate you, buddy. I miss you. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Gilberto.
Have a good show.
So that was a good back and forth with Gilbert. Gilbert obviously brings the knowledge, Dan, and he knows, and he's been around the team for a little bit. But this we were speaking about it, and here's what Brandon Staley had to say about counting on the leaders in this team, the older veterans, and everything. So let's hear what he had to say about that.
You don't mind giving your players the floor. Is this a week where you kind of lean on
that voice sounds familiar?
Actually, Joseph Day, guys that have been there before and have gone on those long stretches in the postseason?
Yeah, Fernando, I think for sure. I think that that type of experience where it's your brothers that have gone through it, it's always the most impactful. The players who have gone through it, and I think that we have a really good combination on our coaching staff of guys who have been in Super Bowls and guys who have been in the NFL playoffs, national championship games in college. So I think you lean on all that experience, and our players know that since we've gotten here, we have that type of atmosphere where you can really trust the people that you're around, and bringing out the best in one another. But you want to be that player-driven team, and there's nothing better than when you have a player who has gone through the same exact thing that you're about to go through. So I think all those guys like Kyle and Khalil and these players that we've been able to bring here, the older players like Keenan that have been in the playoffs, and we have so many team leaders, Corey Lindsley, all these guys who have been through it. They're going to really have to lead the way for us.
I heard that name drop of the other GOAT in the room.
Who?
Who?
So obviously Brandon Staley spoke about it. They're going to really lean on these guys. Man, it's just so funny because Corey Lindsley is a huge piece of this. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention it. The Chargers did activate the window of Rashawn Slater. I know we're 35 minutes in, and that was kind of the big news on Tuesday, that the Chargers did activate Rashawn Slater. Now, folks, for you folks that don't understand, or that kind of haven't, if you guys don't know yet what that means, what it means is the Chargers now have 21 days to activate him. He can practice with the team. He doesn't count against the 53-man roster yet. Now, he will practice with the team this week. Brandon Staley said he will not play Saturday, but he could play next week against the Kansas City Chiefs. So if the Chargers win this weekend, Rashawn Slater could be and would be back for that week, for that divisional matchup against the Chiefs, which would just energize. I think it would take the Chargers to a whole nother level. It would energize them, and it'd really be a big get for them to have him back. So just wanted to let you guys know that is exactly what it means. So Rashawn Slater, the Chargers have 21 days to activate him. If not, he goes back on the IR and he's done for the season. So the Chargers could activate him next week if they beat Jacksonville this weekend. Then he could come back and play against Kansas City next weekend, which, like I said, it'd be a huge return for the Chargers. It'd be like Cody Rhodes coming back to WWE during last year's WrestleMania. So it'd be huge for the Chargers if he's able to come back. But Dan, going back to what he said, I think when you talk about the offensive line, it's just when Corey Lindsley's in there, it's just a different team. Will Clapp is a serviceable backup, but he's not Corey Lindsley. Corey Lindsley's been huge for this team, and that's why they love Corey. That's why they wanted to bring in Corey. And Brandon said it, when I had to play him with the Rams in that 2020 playoff, and he destroyed us up front. He knew exactly what we were running. He knew everything about us. I'm like, crap, I want that guy on my team. So He goes over with the Chargers 2021. I think he was Brandon Staley's either first or second big free agent signing. And he said, I wanted him with me. I knew exactly what Corey Lindsley was like. So these guys that they've signed are all about experience. And obviously you lean on Keenan Allen, who's been here for 10 seasons. He's the longest tenured Charger. You lean on Derwin James. But I think that's going to be huge going into this weekend.
Especially because we saw when Will Clapp was in there, I believe he might have been in during the Sunday night football game against the Chiefs. I'm not too sure, but I know for a fact this season, Will Clapp was in there a few times during crunch time, and you had miscommunication after miscommunication, and they were giving up sacks to guys who were just blitzing the B gap, and no one was just touching them. And, you can't have that, especially, going into playoff football, the room for error is so small that if you blink, you lose the game, quite frankly. Like, if the Chargers start off the game like they did in week 3 with those 2 turnovers in the first quarter, it might be, a very long game because they're going to go up 14-0, and the momentum could just swing completely in their favor. And that's the biggest thing. You have to be disciplined. You have to play clean. You have to remember your fundamentals. And you know what? I think this week is going to be a great challenge for earlier this season, we saw one of Brandon Staley's press conference. I can't remember before what game, but he was talking about toughness, and that's what they've tried to build, a tough team, a mentally tough team, a physically tough team through the draft, through free agency, through everything else, because that's what he wants. He wants that grit, right? And we're going to find out on Saturday how much grit they have, because this is a team, obviously had a similar week 18 showing where it wasn't the best and it wasn't the worst, but well, actually the Chargers didn't win, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they did what they had to do. But it's going to be interesting to see, what happens on Saturday, because they had streaks and then they didn't look good the last week of the season. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's definitely not going to be easy.
all eyes this weekend will be on Justin Herbert. Brandon said he spoke on Justin and if and what this he basically where was it? He was basically asked it's Herbert's first playoff game and what the qualities that a quarterback needs to possess to do well in the playoffs. So here is what Brandon Staley had to say about his quarterback in his first playoffs.
Yeah, I think Justin's whole life he's performed well in these type of games, in these type of environments. I know that when he was at Oregon, his last season at Oregon, he did about all you could do as a college player: Pac-12 championship, Pac-12 MVP, championship game MVP, Rose Bowl MVP. He's always played his best when the stage was the biggest, and that's been how his career has been in the NFL. Prime time, the big games that he's had for the first 3 years, he's always risen to the occasion because that's what type of competitor he is. And I think now just getting that stage where he's joining up with his teammates. There's a team around him that's really excited to compete, and be a team out there. So, he's going to have a good week of practice like he always does. And, I know he'll be ready to play.
That's going to be interesting. Like I said, all eyes are going to be on Justin Herbert.
Yep. Because the biggest thing, right? This is what we were talking about earlier this week, or right after the Tennessee game, Tennessee Jaguars. What they did against Josh Dobbs, very simple, very intellectually sound and tactically sound. They tried to bring 5 to 6 guys, so every offensive lineman was essentially occupied, and they would put a fast DB linebacker or whoever off the edge, Rashawn Jenkins, and that's how they won the game because they sacked the quarterback, they made him fumble, and they returned it for a touchdown, and that's how they won the game. And you have to understand that, right now, if you're the defensive coordinator, I know Filer struggled at times with pressure up the middle. Zion at times is giving up pressure up the middle. And, like it or not, Salyer and Pipkins, they've played well this year, but they're not, I guess NFL established players, if that makes sense. They're not all pros. So you're going to test them all freaking game because the only way you can slow down this Chargers passing game is, number one, to frustrate Justin Herbert, to hit him as much as possible. Get him thinking, get him seeing ghosts. Hopefully hopefully in the sense of the perspective of the defensive coordinator. Hopefully he starts thinking about those ribs, if it's bothering him or not, or he's not trying to repeat that situation. If you control the line of scrimmage against this team, it's going to be a long night because then he's going to start overthinking. He can't find open receivers because at times when they've had the pocket collapse and they haven't been able to establish anything, he's sitting there too long. They're calling, 5-step drops when he's having pressure in his face right away. And, the guy can only do so much with his legs. So that's going to be the key battle right there. How they try and disguise their coverages to try and get in front of Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and everything else to try and force turnovers. Because we've already seen before, they've turned the ball over to this team. And mind you, it's not the same team that they're playing, but, history repeats if you're not ready for it.
It's funny because a lot of people have been criticizing, like I told you at the beginning, of the teams that the Chargers have played. But I think Justin Herbert in that 4-game, even against Denver, he's played really well these last few weeks. You know what? Against the Titans, he played okay. Well, they won the game at the end. He threw 2 picks, had 0 touchdowns. But it's not that. It's the way he's been moving in the pocket so well lately that he has been barely touch. So I think he's doing a great job in the pocket, and to go up against Denver's defense to prep you to go up against Jacksonville, I think that's going to help a lot. So I definitely think that on the Justin Herbert side, I think that's the one thing probably nobody's worried about. If he's going to have he has such a poker face that I feel like he is going to be one of these guys that completely puts it out of his head and he's just focused on the game. And I don't think he'll get in his own head. I think he's the one that his demeanor, the way he is, I think he's perfectly built for this. Poker face, goes in there, does his job. I think that's the one area I don't think anybody's concerned, because we even asked Keenan Allen on Tuesday, and he said that's the one guy we're not really concerned with. He's a professional. This is just another game. He just needs to go in there and play his game. And that's where I think, and I know people are going to get on me, Philip struggled in the playoffs. Philip 100%. Really didn't have good playoff games. 100%. There's maybe 1 or 2 games where he had good playoff games, but other than that, he really struggled in the postseason. And I really feel like the way Justin is, he doesn't get rattled the way Philip kind of used to. No. So I think Justin will be a little bit.
He doesn't turn the ball over.
We don't know. Yeah. But in my opinion, I think he won't get rattled, and I think he has a perfect demeanor for the postseason.
For the most part, also, he doesn't turn the ball over like he used to. Like
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, for the most part, he'll have some bad picks, but some of his picks are just bouncing off of receivers, and it just so happens to land in defenders' hands. And it is what it is. So that's what I'm telling you. I think is going to be very important for the Jags defense to, number one, on third down, you have to get in front of Keenan Allen. If not with one, you have to get at least two people on him. You take him away and make him go to his like second, third reads, and it's going to be difficult. I seriously think this game is it's going to be close. It might be a field goal that decides it. I have no idea, or a touchdown.
I think it's going to be low scoring.
I think it is also, yeah. But what I'm saying is it's going to take a late drive heroics for this game to be decided.
Here's what Brandon Staley had to say about facing Doug Peterson and his offensive scheme. Excuse me.
Protecting the quarterback, getting the quarterback in rhythm, on schedule, well protected. High completion plays, the marriage of the run and the pass. I think he puts a lot of pressure on you in situational football, third and fourth and short, red area. And, you can tell that this guy played the position at the highest level, and that he's thinking about his quarterback. And that's how he's always been as a pro coach. And so he's doing an outstanding job with Trevor this year for sure.
I mean, Brandon understands it. I know all the criticism that he's faced and everything that he's gotten, but I think on defense, when it comes to defense, he understands exactly what he's facing. He's seen it before. He knows what he's going to be facing. And like I said, J.C. Jackson had a couple of mishaps against the Jaguars, so that was kind of a big part of that game too. Is that there were a lot of mishaps, and I think here you're going to get a little bit more of a disciplined defense than the one that faced the Jaguars the first time.
100%. And if you just so happen to watch the highlights, right, this game was decided in the third quarter. It's not like they didn't compete. You know what I mean? The score line's a little bit misleading in the sense that, like, it was a close game up until the third quarter, but you have two early turnovers that in the first quarter, and luckily there were only field goals. And, it is what it is. That you get down early, it's tough to come back. We've seen that before. We saw that in 2018 against the Ravens. They got down early to the Chargers. It was only field goals, but they got down early and it was hard to come back. And that's going to be the biggest thing, right? That's what I'm so glad he mentioned this, because this is the most important about those type of, high efficiency passes or high efficiency plays, that type of offense. You have to stay on schedule. And that's what we've talked about all season with this Charger team. Like, to me, it makes no difference. If Joe Lombardi wants to dink and dunk 5 yards all the way to the end zone, there's no problem with that. But the problem happens when you get behind schedule, when you call, some weirdo outside run and you lose 3 or 4 yards, then it completely just throws your playbook out of whack. And that's what I think is going to be the biggest key. Can you stay efficient? Can you keep them guessing on what you're going to do? Can you run the football effectively? I think this is going to be a big game, and I think you're going to need a little more production and a little more touches out of Joshua Kelly just to keep Austin Eckler fresh. He didn't look the best last game against the Broncos, so I think he's going to be key, and you're going to need to use him.
That's what she said.
This guy.
So obviously the game, it's a big game, and this is what Brandon Staley. Let's go now to Brandon Staley and hear what he had to say about going up against that Jaguars defense that basically won them the game last week against the Tennessee Titans.
Really good front seven. I think a very complete front seven. Both their D line, their edges, off the ball linebackers. I think they're really, really solid. They're deep. They run well. And then a secondary that's got a lot of talent in the back end. I think their two safeties are fantastic, Cisco and Jenkins. And then they've got 3 quality corners that play for them. And one of the guys that I used to coach, Darius Williams, who I know really well, and Tyson Campbell's an emerging young player. And so they've really played really good defense down the stretch. And when we played them the first time, we knew that they had a lot of good pieces, and they've improved since then. So very, very complete defensive unit.
It's funny because if you notice seriously the trajectory of both of these teams, they're very similar. They have a young quarterback. They have pieces on offense. They have a defense that's starting to play better, starting to play together, an offense that's starting to click. And that's why it's almost like you're fighting yourself, right? It's almost like you're playing FIFA and say you pick, the best team or whatever, you pick a team, but you face the same team. Does that make sense? Like if I pick Real Madrid and the computer picks Real Madrid, that's going to be tough. And I think there's a lot of similarities between this team, but obviously it's going to come down to game time adjustments, the chess match, and who's going to want it more. Because that's all it is at the end of the day. Who has a stronger will to make sure they advance to the next round?
What's funny too is that the only sack on Justin Herbert was on Dewani Smoot, and Smoot tore his ACL last week against the Titans, so he's out of this game. And also their left tackle is Cam Robinson, their left tackle. He's out. He got hurt. So basically their offensive line, they're missing three guys from their offense. No, two guys from their offensive line, their left tackle and their left guard. Those are not the same guys that played against the Chargers at the beginning of the season. Hold on. Okay. Cam Robinson is not playing, their left tackle. He played in that first game against the Chargers. I'm not too sure how many games Shatley's played, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't the starting left guard. But yeah, no, it definitely going to be interesting to see how the Chargers decide to go against this team. But Rashawn has been playing well. Rashawn was the one that knocked the ball out of
very well
Joshua Dobbs' hands. I think he's playing more of a Derwin James kind of role where he's kind of all over the field and doing different things.
I think he also had the pick six against the
Cowboys to win the game.
So you know what? I hate that Gilberto mentioned this because of the football gods and how they love to make me pay with misery. But he's playing his former team. And when guys play their former teams, they come out with extra motivation. They're fired up to get everybody else fired up because they don't want to lose to their former team. And that's one of those things that they're going to have to be focused on. They have to know where he is at all times. And the thing you have to do more than anything is just be smart with the football, protect the football, be efficient. Because if you seriously keep Trevor Lawrence on the bench, having 5, 6, 7, 8-minute drives, I think the game's going to be a lot different for them. And I don't know if he's going to be able to respond like he has, and that's the craziest part. You don't know what to expect because none of these two guys have been in the playoffs yet. So it's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, definitely something to watch out for. And they're a pretty healthy team going into this game. Only had 5 players on the injury report. So both teams are basically going into this healthy. Now the only thing is going to be to see how Mike Williams progresses during the week. But for all that information, you can find on my Twitter at RealLeftRamirez. I'll be having all that during this week. On Thursday, obviously the designation will come through on if Mike Williams will play. But like Brandon Staley told us on Monday, he reiterated on Tuesday, all indications are Mike Williams will play on Saturday. So that'll be interesting. First of all, we want to thank Gilberto for jumping on with us and going over some of the Chargers stuff again. I know he covers the Rams, but he's covered the Chargers for years. I thought it'd be good to get some insight from him. And then obviously, want to thank all you guys for jumping on and watching another episode of What's Up, Bolts. Obviously, Dan and Dago and I have you covered on all things Chargers heading into this playoff game. Should be a good game. Dan, do you want to do predictions or do you want to skip them and hold them to yourself? I'm going to let you hold it to yourself.
Oh, okay, I was about to do it. I was about to guess.
No, I'll let you. I think you want to hold on to it.
I think the number one thing that's going to be the difference maker, because I think it's a lot harder. It's one thing to lose twice to a division rival. That's one thing because, crap, you see them every single year, so it is what it is. But I think it's very hard to beat the same team twice in an NFL season, regular season and playoffs. So
I think the football gods want to give you your rematch in the divisional round.
I wouldn't mind it, football gods, but just give it to me all the way. I don't want to have none of this where I get my heart broken.
No half-assing.
All I need is one. I'm not selfish anymore. I need one.
And now go Chargers, go.
Yeah, for real. Don't suck, dude. Get it done.
So so be on the lookout for like I said on my Twitter. I'll have everything like I had today about the Rashawn Slater coming back and getting activated and everything. So make sure you follow me on Twitter at Real F Ramirez. Don't forget, guys, go subscribe so you can get that t-shirt from Gilberto. He showed it on the video portion of it, guys. If you guys haven't seen the t-shirt, go watch it on the video portion of Compas on the Beat on you or on What's Up Bolts on YouTube. You'll see the picture, and it's honestly it's the shirt is awesome. So you guys definitely should get on it. Get that homage t-shirt of Justin Herbert. And guys, we appreciate you guys so much for checking us out. Right after the Chargers versus Jaguars game, we will have your full breakdown. We will listen to what Brandon Staley has to say. We will listen to what Justin Herbert has to say. And obviously we'll have some more good stuff for you. Don't forget to also check out House of Horns. Gilbert and Vic, the producer, have been have done their exit interview or their exit show, so you guys should listen to it, see what the future of the Rams holds. Obviously, everybody's sitting and waiting to see what happens with the future of Sean McVay. Don't forget to check out Compas on the Beat this week. We break down all things Week 18. The Detroit Lions, man, they deserved to go to the playoffs, but obviously that didn't happen. So we talk about all that stuff. We talk about Aaron Rodgers. What's the future of Derek Carr? We talk about all that stuff on on Compas on the Beat. So check that out. Don't forget to check out Compas FC. We'll have a new episode this Thursday, but if you missed anything from last week, go check it out. It's still relevant stuff. Good stuff coming up this week. We will break down Barcelona taking the lead in La Liga. We will break down Marcus Rashford right now. Seems to be one of the hottest players in soccer. He scored 7 goals in the last 6 games. Is he starting to turn a corner? Or is it like JC said is it like Eddie said, is he turning a corner? Or is it what JC said? Is it that he's playing against subpar opponents? They'll have everything. They'll have their answers on Compas FC. And guys, Comeback Compas is making a comeback. Don't forget, we will be coming to you soon. We appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to check out everything that is Compas on the Beat. What's up, Dan?
I was about to say for now, don't forget, we're up to something.
Oh yeah, we got a little surprise that we'll be announcing pretty soon. So I hope everybody's excited for it. I hope everybody's on the lookout for it because yeah, we're kind of up to something here. We're excited about the future of Compas on the Beat. So be on the lookout for that. But we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you guys like about the show. We appreciate all the fans that have liked and subscribed and commented on the videos. Keep on commenting. We'll shout you out on the show. And don't forget, you have to comment on this video to let Gilberto know that you want the t-shirt. So you have to say, what's up, Bolts? What's up, whatever you guys want to do, and you will be entered in that raffle for that t-shirt. So we appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget, be a compa, tell a compa. Have a great playoff weekend. Get excited. And like I said, Dan Diego and I will be here Saturday. We appreciate you guys so much.
Let's freaking go.